Welcome back to the Mars Boys Podcast, presented by Pease Custom Lanyards. Quality American-made paracord products that fit all your needs in the outdoors. From gunslings to game totes, Pease has you covered.
Top-down decoys, the most effective silhouette on the market. Their new horizontal design will change the way you build your spread for the upcoming season.
You can find all of our great sponsors in the bio of our Instagram at Mars_boys.
Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
Hey, take it!
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Mars Boys Podcast. I'm Brian, and today I don't have Ryan to make a stupid witty joke next to me. I do have my cousin Buggy at the other end of the table.
I'm back.
He's finally back. Actually, I think this is the first time you've been on since we've done the new uploading software.
Yeah.
So there might be an episode on there with you in it, but I know it was like 3 parts, and I don't think I got to upload all of them.
The first one, it was a long time. The second one wasn't as long. That was during duck season.
Yep.
Right at the end of duck season this year.
But we're out of duck season. We're in the fishing season, which I know has become your new love.
Yeah, but I always love fishing. It's just,
Well, I mean, love over fishing over hunting here in the last couple
now
of years.
That there's no ducks, or now can't shoot ducks, so transfer into something else. Got to get the boat out somehow. So
we'll rewind all the way back to the spring. How did your striper season go?
This spring I did good. Me and a buddy of mine. I mean, I've had better years, but I'm not complaining. I got out more than I thought I would, and we ended up catching 3 this year. First day out, we caught a 23, which, whatever. I mean, a short striper is better than no striper.
Yep.
Went out the next weekend. Forget how we did then. Oh, the next weekend, was it the week after that? We ended up catching a 35 and then a 36.
Okay. Now, what's the slots right now? Or what was the slot?
I think the slot now is 28 to 32. I forget. It's fresh out of my head. Actually, I have it right on my phone.
Did that go down from last year?
I forget. I tell you what, I didn't striper fish last year. I mean, I forget. Let's see. Striped bass, 28 to 31. So, yeah, it went down. Okay. It was 28 to 32. One fish at 28 to 31.
And now we're into the season where in the Delaware River you can catch a slot fish and one over, right?
Not now. The Delaware River season's closed. The Delaware River season is, let's see, conveniently I have it in my favorite photos. So the Delaware River is from the Calhoun Street Bridge in Trenton down to the Salem River. So anything between the Salem River north to Trenton is considered the spawning ground of the Delaware River, and that's only open from March 1st to March 31st. And then it comes back in June 1st to December 31st.
Yeah, so it's back in right now.
Yeah.
What's the regulation difference from June 1st to January 1st?
I was always under the assumption that, now I could be wrong, I was under the assumption that like the June 1st to December 31st, you weren't supposed to be keeping the fish, if you know what I mean. But I'm not sure. I never fished the Delaware River like that, if you know what I mean. I stay out the Delaware River. I mean, I fished it as a kid, surf fished it. And actually, I shouldn't say I'd stay out of there. I fished it quite a few times before work. I go surf fish before work, but...
You think it's just over flooded now with people? Everybody and their mother has some striper poles.
Yeah, I mean, there's even spots I'd go to, and technically, I mean, where the line is, there's Delaware guys that come over, so you're also competing against Delaware guys, and it's not really that fun fishing that far north. I mean, that far north is a good spot when they're spawning, but you catch some big fish up there. Yeah, but you're right. There is a lot of people. It can get crowded.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm not spot burning or nothing here, but the park in Pennsville used to be a pretty hidden gem.
Yeah, everybody goes to the park,
And they catch, I mean, I think the biggest fish caught this year was like a 40-pounder, 42-pounder.
It seemed like multiple 50-inch fish caught up there.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, and then same way with Fortescue. I mean, all over, it just depends on, where they're at. Yeah. I'm not going to spot burn myself, but I fish somewhere in between Pennsville and Fortescue. I was in between. Actually, I was in the Delaware Bay. I just said I didn't fish the river. I was in the Bay. I was somewhere between Fortescue and Pennsville. I stayed away from both of those because Fortescue does get packed too. That's a good spot, but it does get. I mean, when them striper running, that beach is covered in guys.
That night I closed out the Delaware River season. I went, which I didn't even fish the river.
Yeah,
I fished the bay.
Yeah,
and I told you about a spot I was going to go to. And you're like, just go fish Fortescue.
Yeah.
I showed up to Fortescue, and there wasn't a single person there. There wasn't even a fresh footprint in the sand.
Yeah.
And I looked at Aaron and Ryan and was like,
Yeah.
Like, there's no fish here.
Yep.
So we turned around and went back to that spot I told you about, and that there was a guy next to us. I mean, that fish was every bit of 40 pounds, like over a 40-inch striper, easily. I saw that sucker's tail. The fucking tail was like that wide crossed.
Oh yeah.
And then I heard tink. Dude's line snapped just as he was in like a foot of water.
I had I only had one misfortune this year. My slot fish. I was fishing with a couple guys and a buddy of mine, and I had a 30-incher, and I knew that fish was a slot fish. I had the fish right beside the boat, and my buddy fumbled with the net. I fell to my knees and just covered my hands with my face. I thought I was going to cry. But it happens. It happens all the time. It shouldn't happen all the time, but it does happen. So,
do you think them circle hooks? I don't think I've ever talked about this on the podcast. Do you think circle hooks help the fishermen, or do you think it's a disadvantage? I know they're there to help the fish.
They're there to help the fish. I mean, for me, ever since I've started doing it, the circle hook was in play. Like, they started doing it. I mean, years ago when I was fishing, I'm talking when I was in high school, they started the circle hook rule, and it was just in the Delaware River. It wasn't everywhere. Now, if you're running cut bait or any bait for striped bass, you're supposed to be using a circle hook, unless it's on a lure.
Yeah, then you're...
Even then, they want you to, if it's a treble hook, they want you to pinch the barbs down. Take a pair of pliers. You don't have to, but flatten the barbs out so it comes out easier. Yeah, just pancake the barbs down. But the circle hook, for me, I've gotten used to using it. I use a lot of bait runner reels for striper. And I will say this, with a circle hook, it's hard to get used to. You don't want to set the hook with a circle hook.
You just put pressure, right?
Pick up and start cranking. And it's hard to get used to not doing that, because I've seen guys, Bo lost a fish at Elsinboro. He had this 10-foot surf pole. Pole starts, going down. He didn't have a bait runner reel. Fish just took it, and he rips up and just yanks up on it. He got that fish up on the beach. I had my knee boots on, and I kind of fumbled there. I didn't get down there fast enough.
Yeah.
But that fish was hooked right dead square in the cartilage in the top. And the hook broke, because just the point when he set the hook, it yanked the bait out of the fish's mouth and caught it.
And then bent the hook back.
So the only thing holding that fish on that hook was like probably maybe a quarter inch of the hook point. I don't know how the fish stayed on there that long, but she started floundering around on the beach, and dink, and that hook popped. And I was like, see, that wasn't all my fault. You don't set the hook with a circle hook. It's hard for people to get used to it.
I was just saying, now, looking at the hook itself, it looks like, I mean, everybody knows what a circle hook looks like, but I'm saying, when you set that hook, it's almost like you're putting a reverse effect on it.
So what it is, you don't want to do that, because, like you said, you put the reverse effect, and you're pulling over or around or out of his mouth. So the circle hook, I forget the percentage, it's like 98% of the time. If you let the circle hook do what it's supposed to do, it will catch him right in the corner of the mouth every time. Almost every time.
Yeah.
It's pretty legit. It'll hook them right where you want them, and they'll stay hooked, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You get the meaty part of that lip. Yep. And like, I was using them. I've been taking a couple people that the past 2 weeks I've been catfishing, for example, and I just kept the circle hooks on. I'm like, don't leave them. Like, what are you using circle hooks for catfish? I'm like, well, these people were sitting there on the boat drinking beer, shooting the shit. These people aren't the best fishermen. They're not paying attention. And I turn the bait runners on, just let the catfish take it.
Yeah.
And then they just click it off and pick up and reel. So a circle hook does have its advantages, especially if you're dead sticking bait. If you're not holding that pole, if you're just throwing it off, throwing it into the surf, or throwing it over the side of the boat. And especially, I mean, a bait runner reel. I love bait runner reels. I do use them quite often for catfish and striper.
Yeah, I just got into them last year. I bought it's some catfish pole, generic catfish pole you can get at Dick's, and I love it. I really do like it.
Now, for the bigger catfish, like in the river and all that, I'll use it. But if I get like the small back creeks and all that, a lot of times I don't. Really use the smaller catfish. I really don't use it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've caught some bigger ones in some of those back ditches, but if I'm sitting there in those back ditches, I'm not casting out as far, and I'm paying more attention, I don't really bother with the bait runner. But for striped bass, every time I use it.
Yeah, I just saw a picture, speaking of bigger catfish, I just saw a picture on Facebook, girl I'm friends with up north, somewhere up in North Jersey. She thought it was a channel catfish.
Yeah.
She caught what she thought was a 21-pound channel catfish.
Yeah.
This thing was darker than this hat.
Oh, he has a flathead?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I was going to comment and say something, but...
Yeah, they do. I've heard we do have them. I mean, I don't know how much we have them, but I heard we do have them.
I know there's guys that religiously fish for them once you get, like... I won't I'll just keep it short. Say north of Trenton.
Yeah.
In the Delaware River.
Yeah.
I need to find some spots myself because I would love to catch one on rod and reel.
And flatheads are, I will say, from what I've seen, I've never caught one, but I just hear like the guys in uniform, they're pretty tenacious. You put something in front of their face, they'll eat it.
Oh, guys fishing with them with live, like bluegills, Big Jim would love to eat.
Yeah,
That's what they're fishing. Or there's a guy on TikTok that caught hell
Yeah.
Oh, he caught some hell over that. That was like a 3-pound bass.
Yeah, and he was using a circle hook.
Yeah,
he used a circle hook right to the back. I saw it too, yep.
I saw that, and then I saw like 2,000 comments, and I'm like, oh, somebody's ripping him apart.
Yeah, they put it. I saw that circle hook. I don't know what size it was. I'm just looking from the video, but that was a circle hook.
Yeah, but what I also didn't know is in some states you can't use game fish as bait.
Yeah,
because that was a lot of the other comments was, oh well, wherever I'm at here, you can't use bass because they're game fish
species. I don't know the rules and regs with Jersey on that. I've caught my own minnows, but they're not a game fish.
Yeah, no. Same thing as a bluegill. Bluegill's on game fish.
I've never chunked sunnies to use them for catfish bait or nothing like I've never done that.
They work. Sunny heads work.
I know sunny heads. I've seen guys use them. I've never done it myself. I've just used. I mean, my favorite bait for a catfish is cheddar crab.
Night crawlers.
I know it's expensive, but cheddar crab, and I fished with night crawlers. I fished the past 2 weekends for catfish just to get the boat out. Mm-hmm. I should have went black drum fishing, but it's like it was just kind of spur of the moment thing. So I just took the boat out and fished. But I caught catfish on night crawlers. I didn't go get cheddar crab. I was like, oh, just try night crawlers, and I caught a 10-pounder, and Bo caught a 12. I mean, we didn't catch as many, but we caught some nice fish.
I've never not had luck with night crawlers. I think that's all I've ever used for catfish.
I noticed my difference with cheddar crab, though. I threw the night crawlers in there, and they did get hit. It would take a while, but they would get hit. Where the cheddar crab, as soon as I threw a fresh one on there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Especially if it wasn't a green cheddar, like a true cheddar. Peel that shell off, and there's a soft underneath, the guts. Dude, as soon as that hit the bottom, something was hitting it. Every time. Yep. Every time. And I had some amateur anglers with me, and they missed a lot, but we still brought home 9.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We brought home 9 fish. So we weren't out there that long either. So I was like, you know what? I'll take it.
That's the best part about going out there. You can go out there for 2 hours if you really wanted to and catch enough to eat.
I'd say we were probably out, like, total fishing hours. Like, we did some cruising, too, but, like, total fishing hours, probably only 3.
Yeah.
We hit, I don't know, 3-4 spots, and that was it. But
now, striper season's done going and past for the spawning stripers.
Yeah, there's still some stragglers out there, but I'm not wasting my money on bloodworms to go catch them.
Well, that's another question I was going to ask before we go into whatever you're doing or what was next is so the 2 fish you caught this year. How much money did you invest in bloodworms?
So me and my buddy, we went out and fished, and in total, for those 3 striper, I mean, you gotta love it, and you gotta want it, because we spent. I think we figured up. We ended up spending $280 in bloodworms to catch 3 striper. We had to cut loose, and 1 got off.
Now, what is the alternative bait that works just as good as bloodworms?
I haven't found anything.
Really?
If in my opinion, for fishing on this side, I'm not talking like fishing the coastal side, like Atlantic City in the ocean.
Yeah, it's different.
That's a different ballgame.
Yeah.
But for where we fish, spawning Delaware Bay fish, further up north, closer to the spawning ground, dude, don't even fool with bunker, just bloodworms. And a lot of guys will take tooling and they'll bag their bloodworms. So the perch
can't pick at it.
The perch can't pick at it. This year, I didn't have perch mess with me. So if I don't have to bag the bloodworms, I'm not going to. For me, it's just one more thing in the way of the bait. But I've seen some monsters caught on bagged bloodworms. This year, I've done it in the past, but this year where I was at, there wasn't too many perch around, so I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have perch and eels picking that shit off.
Yep.
So I just was straight. Now, and I did only buy jumbos. I did buy a couple regular, but I bought what the guys had left of jumbos, and then, you know what I mean?
It's worth it to buy the jumbos.
Yeah.
You're paying an extra, $8 a dozen, but you're getting twice the worm.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is, you got to keep it fresh. As soon as they start getting pale, or they've been picked apart by a perch or something, or you know what I mean. Just get rid of it, and don't be stingy with it, because I'm telling you, put a fresh one on, and it helps.
Yeah, oh yeah,
it helps. And actually, this year, first time I ever tried it. This year we were tipping. I was putting the bloodworm on, and to help keep the bloodworm stay on the hook because we weren't bagging them, I actually got the Berkeley Gulp sandworms. So it's a fake bloodworm.
Oh yeah, and you would tip it with that?
I tipped it with a Berkeley Gulp sandworm. And I'll tell you what, every fish we caught had a Berkeley Gulp sandworm tipped on the hook.
Huh.
So, and we actually had more hits too. I didn't lose any fish. I didn't lose any fish, but people I was with lost some fish. I'll say that. It wasn't me, but
I will say I've heard that and seen that like through the YouTube videos and now hearing things about the striper scene. Like a lot of guys will do exactly that. They'll take a full bloodworm and then they'll cut pieces off them Berkeley sandworms and just stick it on the hook.
So there is
half and half.
There is a Berkeley bloodworm, a fake bloodworm, and it's longer. I use because it's all I could get my hands on. It's the Berkeley sandworm. It's real similar to bloodworm, but imagine it's only like, I don't know, maybe 2 1/4 inches.
Okay.
It's smaller and it's a little bit fatter, which I like because, like you're saying, it cut the fake bloodworm in half. They're already in small pieces.
Yeah.
And even those, like, we would use it for, let's say, half the day. And once that Berkeley scent was, like, not on it anymore,
Switch it out.
Just throw it in a trash bucket and put another one on.
Yeah.
But you buy 2 bags of them. They did last us almost the whole time. But I did try this other product, too. I wasn't really too crazy about. I keep seeing people advertise fish bites. And fish bites, I was like, well, I went to a guy.
Is that like the shit that they have like carp bites, the little Play-Doh balls?
No, fish bites it's a long. It looks like a bungee cord, but smaller. So imagine like a bungee.
Okay.
And it's live bait alternative.
Okay.
And it's dry, but once it gets wet, it turns soft, and that's what like kind of activates it. So I was using the fish bites, and I heard people rave about it. I was like, well, I can't find. This guy doesn't have any more than Berkeley sandworm, so. Last day, I was
does it look like strips of gum?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like a strip of gum.
Yeah.
So you just cut a chunk off the size you want, and I was using it, and it works good, and it will stay the hell on a hook. I'll give it that. It will stay on a hook, but it started like breaking down, and I could tell I needed to change it out.
Yeah.
They put like a piece of cloth mesh in it when they make it to keep it to stay on the hook, which is good until you try to get it off the hook. I had to cut it off the hooks with dikes when I got home. I couldn't get it like completely ripped off. But that, I will say this, I didn't notice where that helped me out at all. All my fish I caught were with the jumbo bloodworm, not bagged, and a Berkeley gulp sandworm tipped it. Just to help keep the bloodworm, just something else to keep that bloodworm on there and add a little more meat to that hook.
So what's next? Now we've gone through striper, black drum's about over.
Yeah, black drum, I'd like to get out drum fishing, but weekend plans, I really want to go, but right now the season I think is starting to wind down.
Yeah, we're switching. What I've noticed a lot. So my buddy Riley probably heard me talk about him a couple times. The guys from Head Loping.
Yep.
Also, shout out Nate. I was talking to him about that Suzuki I bought. Once again, second episode in a row. Shout out Josh at Sundog Marina. Best place to go.
Josh is a good dude. I've met him personally too.
Yeah.
He is a really nice dude.
He doesn't. He's not going to bullshit you. He's going to tell you straight up. And he's going to, he'll deal you a fair hand if you're looking to get something from him. He's got a lot of parts into. He said he keeps majority of anything under, like 125 horsepower or under for them Suzukis. He's got it in stock.
Yeah, if you want a Suzuki outboard in South Jersey, he's the guy to go talk to.
And they're a lot less than MSRP. Yeah. I will say that.
Yeah, he is the man to go talk to.
So Nate Valenti hit me up. He's part of the Hen Loping with Riley. And he goes, how do you like that Suzuki? I said, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I said, I'm so glad I did not buy a Yamaha or Mercury.
Yep.
Or even a Tohatsu at that point. I said, that Suzuki, I would go back and buy that 10 out of 10 times again.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I was looking into buying a brand new motor too, and I was just, trying to find somewhere to go. I don't know anybody that has a brand new motor except, you.
Yeah.
So he went out and he bought himself a 20 horse, brand new 2024.
From Josh?
No, he got it down in Maryland where they live.
Yeah, I would say he's probably somewhere closer to him.
Yeah. I'm sure down in Eastern Shore, Maryland, got a lot more boat dealers.
There's somewhere you can get a hold of one. Yeah, for real.
But anyway, what I was going to say is Riley, I think they caught some drum this year. I'm not sure if he personally, but I know them boys in Delaware tore them up this year.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Slaughter Beach especially is a hotbed for them. Like, those guys are out in the Delaware side. I mean, in Slaughter Beach, I've never fished it personally. I've seen guys out there in boats. I'd love to fish it one day, but haven't gotten around to it yet. I was going to fish, over on the Cape May side, fish north of Cape May and run out there and see what I could do. Maybe run out a little further, but it's just getting people to go with me. That's not a trip I want to take by myself. I'm not going to buy all this bait and run all the way out there, get a whole bushel of surf clam or even half a bushel of surf clam for myself. I'd like to get somebody else out there with me. You know what I mean? Bring home more than 3 drum.
Exactly.
Because they're at I think drum are 3.
It's a 3.
3 at 16 inches. So
The minimum 16?
Yep. 3
I thought it was like 24.
Nah, 3 at 16 inches. So for me, I'd like to get at least one other person with me if I'm spending, if you want to get down there, the fuel on the boat, the money on the bait. Even if somebody doesn't split the bait with me, I'm buying it regardless.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I don't care. But I just want somebody
Put
else.
more fish in the boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make that trip worth it. Get more fish in the boat.
Yep.
I mean, it's not guaranteed we're going to catch 6. Hell, we might catch 1.
Yeah.
But at least somebody else is with me. So if we do really
Double
get into
chances
them,
anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we do get into them, then we can keep more. I always try to take somebody with me now.
Yeah.
In that boat when I'm fishing. And like I said, not just for have somebody to talk to, but it does bring more home.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? So,
yeah. But what I was he's talked to me lately. He said it's the drummer transitioning back out.
Yep.
And the bluefish are coming in.
That's-
Blues and weekies are coming in right
Yeah.
now, and they're hitting hard.
I'm not going to spoil the surprise. You can ask me about that later.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
kidding. I don't have a surprise.
What's this? Oh, no surprise.
Nah, no surprise.
Thought you were planning a bluefish trip.
Yeah, I am actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to go. They say Dad raves over them. I think
Yeah.
Dad said other than stripers, that was his favorite
Well,
fish.
bluefish
or
are-
weak, or blue. No, weekies and blues are different, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Dad loves weak fish.
Weak fish are really good. And I'm going to be honest with you. I grew up fishing Jersey my whole life, and I've caught 1 keeper-sized weak fish on a charter boat. All the other ones I've caught were small.
I've never. Now weak fish, they're sea trout, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And back in the day, way before our time, like if you look at the signs at Fortescue, it was weak fish capital of the world. The tide runner weak fish would come through there, and dude, it was like nothing like we've ever seen.
So it's what they would literally call blitz.
Yeah, and they caught them consistently for years out there, and then it kind of tapered off, and everybody now is like, where the hell did all the weak fish go?
Well, so
The last one I caught was like 10 inches. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
So I've heard that, and
Like-
a lot of old guys say they, for some odd reason, the fish go for a while, and
they come back.
then they come back for a while, and
Yep.
they go for a while. Look at the flounder,
Yeah.
fluke for the last what? Not last year, the year before. So I'm talking 2022 to like back to 2015.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. If you went out and caught a keeper flounder,
Yeah.
that was a big deal.
Yep.
Now everybody and their mother's out catching them,
I-
and the limit's up.
Yeah. I don't mind flounder fishing. It's not that I don't. Flounder is not my favorite fishing.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
They're my favorite eating.
They eat damn good. Yeah.
But it's like you're pulling up a railroad spike.
Yeah, and I know with them a lot of spots, like you said, there's a lot of guys.
Oh, everybody
and
knows
if,
where they're
And
at.
if you're going to fish down there, down where I know some good flounder spots, but you got to get down there. Just like anything else, you got to get down there super early before everybody else gets out there on jet skis and pleasure boats and's out there ripping ass. Because as soon as that starts, unless you're in a real secluded area, a lot of times they tend to shut off.
Fish, yeah, they flip
I
the
mean,
switch.
I'll tell you what doesn't shut off is the 10-inchers, the little ones. They'll bite all day.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's
We went on a charter for, I think it was 6 hours last year. Caught
Yeah.
one keeper. Caught a bunch of little ones, and it was really cool because I'd never caught flounder before.
Yeah.
And we caught some flounder, some sea robins, some skates, a couple stingrays.
yep.
I mean, it was all good and fun, but,
Yeah.
and the guy even warned us and said, hey, it's a beautiful day. It's the end of July.
yeah. It's gonna be
Don't get
everybody
your
in their-
hopes up too much.
Everybody and their brother's gonna be out here.
Yeah. He cut us a rate because of that. He goes, the fishing is going to suck after like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, once everybody wakes up and starts doing their thing.
Yep, and exactly what happened. The first spot we hammered them, like he said, a lot of little ones.
Yeah.
Later in the season.
Yeah, a lot of shorts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still fun, and then here comes everybody and their mother. Now we're
Yeah.
fishing in fucking 5-foot swells because of all the damn waves.
Yeah, and then there's everybody else is out. Then the other guys start coming out there
Yep.
fishing too. Yeah. Like I said, I do like catching any fish. I mean, not saying flounder is my least favorite, but I'd rather go catch striper,
Yeah.
bluefish,
Yeah.
drum. I mean, hey, I'm not knocking anybody that fishes for flounder because they are damn good eating fish.
Yeah.
So
So
the last few I caught a couple. Was it 2-3 years ago? I caught a couple. I'm not going to give away, but over by where we duck hunted in that area.
Yep. Oh, really?
Yeah, and all short. I caught like 3 and all short. I'm like, well, whatever. But there was an old man at the boat ramp, old head. He was there, and I was there pretty early. I mean, you could tell this guy lived closer in the area. He probably hit that water before the sun came up, and
He was probably out there every day.
Yeah, every day. He had his limit, and he's like, "How'd you make out?" I'm like, "Well." Almost only counts on horseshoes and herring games.
Yeah.
I almost had a couple keepers. He's like, yeah, almost. And yeah, whatever.
He's probably heard that 30 times before you even got back to the boat
Yeah,
ramp.
I mean, some of them fish were close, but
Yeah.
man, whatever.
And it's funny if you notice, like with the flounder, a lot of time they're like a quarter inch off,
Yeah,
a half inch off. They're right there. What is it? It's like 16 and 3/4 or 17. Mm-hmm. You can catch one between 17 and 17 and something, and then one over. I forget what it is. Flounder's weird with that.
So flounder, luckily, summer flounder fluke. I have it right open on my phone. Delaware Bay and tributaries, 3 fish at 17 inches. Island Beach State Park is 2 fish at 16. And then summer flounder, all marine waters, except for the Delaware Bay, Island Beach State Park, whatever. And that is 3 fish at 18 inches.
Or longer.
It says at 18 inches.
Oh.
Yeah, so 18 inches even.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yep.
That, yeah. Okay.
And weak fish have always been, as long as I can remember, in my lifetime, weak fish have always been a 1 fish limit. Mm-hmm. And now it's 1 fish at 13 inches. But weak fish I think they're really good eating fish too. They're just a little tricky. They call them paper mouths. Just like a crappie has a real soft. That's why they call them a weak fish. I mean, if you go ripping on that hook set, you can pull the lip off or rip the lip. Yeah. But now, like I said, I haven't caught one in years.
So I've never caught a bluefish, never caught a weak fish. Now I know guys that go nuts over bluefish.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is it because they fight hard? Is it because they taste good?
Bluefish are they're like the piranha of the Atlantic Ocean and Delaware Bay. And a lot of people bitch about the way they taste. They don't like the way they taste. Now bluefish,
I've heard that.
Bluefish is not white meat. That shit is red.
Really?
But, oh yeah. It is dark meat. But with bluefish, I see guys that sit there and be like, oh, they taste like shit, whatever, they taste like shit. They don't. They might bleed them out, but they'll sit there and throw them in a 5-gallon bucket full of piss warm water and sit there on the surf all day. It's like, dude, that no wonder it's going to taste like shit. And I will say one thing for bluefish: if anybody out there has never caught one and catches one, you can refrigerate it for a little bit, but do not try to freeze it. It won't handle it; just falls apart.
Really?
Yep.
Is that flaky of a meat?
Yeah, it just falls apart. So if you catch bluefish, cook it that day. And the last time I caught them, I ended up making like fried fish patties out of them, and I was like, cornmeal or bread meal and all that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, cornmeal, breadcrumbs, and end up making fish patties out of it.
So it's almost like a crab cake with fish.
Exactly, and that was the best I've ever had it. Like eating it straight up, just cooked. I've eaten it, and it's strong. Yeah. It's very dark meat. I'll give it that. It's edible. I mean, I could see where some people don't like it, but if you fry it, you know what I mean, it's really not that bad at all. I deep fried it. I didn't even, you know what I mean?
I do that with every fish.
It wasn't shallow in a pan. It was deep fried, and that shit was damn good. But you could deep fry a lot of things, and they're good.
Yep. But a little shake and bake in the wool.
Yeah. And bluefish a lot of people like them because they're tenacious as all hell. I mean, if they're blitzing, if you're surf fishing, and they're blitzing, and they're out there, you can throw a cigarette butt on the treble hook. And they're going to hit it. They are tenacious. When they eat, they eat.
Yeah, so that's, like I said, Riley's a big fisherman. He was always a big fisherman before he got into duck hunting. And he sent me a picture Saturday of him catching some bluefish.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, I've heard so many people say it's like one of the best fishing you can ever do. Mm-hmm. I don't even know where to start. Mm-hmm. Where do you start getting into it? And he was like, just take your boat out.
Yeah.
Drive it around. If it sees what looks like an upside down outboard motor in the water.
Yeah.
Throw anything.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, because they're blitzing right there feeding.
Or you see bait fish jumping, or you see a shit ton of bait fish scattering away. There's something chasing it.
A big thing I would look for bluefish, I don't know if you saw, I keep binoculars on the boat all the time.
Yeah.
Birds. If you see gulls and birds start diving, there's a reason why.
Okay.
Because there's fish underneath pushing them up. If you see birds, start heading that way. Quick. Shut the motor off. But once you get close. But start heading in that direction.
Yeah,
and that's for, striper, all that. And a lot of people don't realize, too, if you think about it, a lot of times I've seen guys, I've caught a striper, and then the guy behind me will catch a bluefish. What it is, the bluefish are on top, and they're like piranhas. They're up there. They rip and tear. They don't think about it. They just shred shit. I mean, they got some teeth on them. So what they'll do is they'll be ripping up bait or anything on the top. The striper will follow them. They'll be underneath. And they'll be picking up. Yeah, they'll be picking up whatever the bluefish don't eat and shred up. Because the bluefish and they hit hard and they're fast, so they hit it and kill it, and they might run away with a chunk of it and go hit another one, and they're just going and going and going and going.
I bet you that's why people love to fish for them. Because when they take something, they're taking it.
They're taking it. And with bluefish, though, I will say you just got to be careful with them. I've been lit up. Just the teeth. They are toothy.
Yeah.
They'll get you.
Yeah. I was listening to Joe Cermelli's podcast one time. I believe it was Joe's podcast. long ago, and he said he watched some dude on a party charter lip a bluefish.
Yeah, pierced right in the finger. So my best experience I ever had at bluefish, like I was just getting into like not just getting into saltwater fishing. I just didn't do it that much. I didn't even have a driver's license, so I didn't have the opportunity to do it as much as I wanted to because I couldn't take myself. But me and Bo used to go up to Miss Barnegat Light, and we go over to Barnegat, and we went on Miss Barnegat Light at night for bluefish, and that's a big catamaran, big boat, and they fish at night for them. And we go out there. We're out in the middle of the. I forget where we ran out. We're obviously out of Barnegat. I forget where we were. I really wasn't paying attention that much. It was late. And all of a sudden, like, captain's like, all right, fish. And the mates start getting up and they're moving around doing their thing. And then doof, 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 all these lights come on this boat. And they're like fucking stadium lights.
Oh.
Just, and the whole, like, oh, man. And Bo told me we're old clothes. So we're out there. And once the bluefish start going, you start throwing out there. And as soon as that shit hits the water, bow. They hit it. We're reeling them in. They're sitting there flopping like you seen like the tuna flopping on the deck. That's why he told me to wear old clothes because they're gaffing them, flipping them in the boat, and they're just flopping around,
rehooking and throwing,
blood flying everywhere, and we're just hooking them because you're allowed 5 a person on a head boat.
Okay,
a head or charter boat, you're allowed 5 per person.
Now, is it different on your own boat?
Yeah, so if we go out, we can keep 3 a person, but if you're on a charter, you can keep 5. So we were out there, and you just throw out there and just let them hit it. And if it was a decent sized one, it got the meat hook and flopped on the floor, and they're just bouncing around.
I was going to say, them guys, they've been doing it long enough. They could probably see a keeper.
Yeah, and they're like, well, they're just like, all right, bring that little thing in here, and then they'll, get it off for you, whatever. But the decent sized ones we kept, you know what I mean? Like 20-inch was about the average. Like, they weren't massive. They weren't gator bluefish, but like a 20-inch bluefish. I mean, it's still fun as hell. You're out there at night, you know what I mean?
And that's, I mean, once you get on them, that's, and you're what? You're done with it in 2 hours. You're back in.
Yep. I mean, well, that's the thing. They would try to get everybody as close as they could to a limit. I forget exactly how long the hour was. Maybe it was 3-4 hours. I forget how long we actually stayed out there, but. When you got on them, it didn't take long. But when you didn't get on them, some nights, you know what I mean, it was slower fishing. You know what I mean? Some nights, it's just finding them. But once they found them, holy shit, it was on.
Now, that's something that I've never done, and I feel like it's something because I live in South Jersey.
Yeah.
I need to do as a party charter.
Yep.
It's like, it's almost like a cult.
What's that, with bluefish?
No, just party boats in general.
Boats. Yeah, dude, I mean, party boats, I do love it. It's a good time. Like, Pedro knows, Brian knows, every time we go out on boat, it's like, I'm doing all this damn work. Like, sometimes I want to be the boat hoe. Yeah. Sometimes I just want to chill, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I want to drink the beer and just get drove around.
That's the name of the podcast. I just want to be the boat hoe.
Sometimes I just want to be the boat hoe. But, I don't mind it because I love doing it. But it's like, man, shit. But when you go out on the charter boats, you're the boat hoe. You just go out there. I mean, recently, I don't charter boats that much. I prefer to take my own boat out.
Well, now that you have the boat to take out, I can see.
But now, like, don't get me wrong, I've chartered for black sea bass in a couple of different states. Virginia Beach was one of them. Virginia Beach was okay. We did all right. But we chartered for black sea bass. If you're looking for a good time, John Bowen, Triple C Charters out of Ocean City. We went out there and had our limit.
Jersey or Maryland?
Jersey. And we went out there and had our limit, man. Like,
well, you can get, what, 15 a person of sea bass? Or
let's see. I forget.
Pull up your favorites.
Black sea bass. You're allowed 10 at 12.5. So what John would do, if they weren't 13, throw them back.
Okay.
He's not playing around a half inch.
Fair enough.
If they weren't 13, throw them back. So, and that's from May 17th to June 19th. Then the season changes. After that, it's 1 fish at 12.5 from July 1st to August 1st. Then
I was the fall they hit them hard, don't they?
In the fall, yeah. So then you're allowed in the fall from October 1st to October 31st, you're allowed 10 fish at 12.5, and then November 1st to December 31st, you're allowed 15 fish at 12.5. So you hit more in the wintertime. But
now is that just going out finding like pilings and wrecks?
So
and
on the wrecks, yeah. I mean, you're out there good ways.
Okay.
And I will say this: there's usually an armada of boats out there. Yeah. Everybody's out there getting them.
Well, I feel like that's the way. Like, I feel like that's how it is any time of the year.
Yeah.
You're always catching fish in a wreck.
Well, with the drum too, the drummer the same way. Like, everybody's like, oh, I kind of want to go out in a charter boat and then mark the spot on my GPS and see where they're going. Like, all you got to do is look out there in the bay, dude. The fucking bay is covered in dudes.
If
like,
there's 15 boats in one spot, they're probably catching something.
Yeah, that bay is covered in guys in a black drum. And honestly, that's a struggle for me is getting bait. Like, if I don't get it soon enough, man, it's gone. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you can use salt clam to catch black drum, but if you don't have fresh, not even frozen, don't even fuck around with frozen anything ever. If you have fresh surf clam, that is the way to go. The hard part about catching a drum is, the hard part of the clam or the beak. Well, it's like the tongue of the clam, the part that comes out of the shell. They don't really want that. They want all the mushy. They want the guts that are in it, and it's hard to keep that on a hook. But I mean, my best trick with that, I use unscented dental floss or unflavored dental floss.
Just tie the clam
and tie it on.
hook.
Yeah, that works damn good.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I guess you could even use like a 5-pound mono.
Yeah, because they don't want that. I mean, they will eat the beak, but they're not really after the beak. What really gets that central in the water, and what they really want to eat is that clam's guts.
Yeah,
that's what they're after.
I mean, that's kind of like even with the bloodworms, they're not after the beak on the bloodworm. Yeah. They're after the guts and the blood.
Yep,
that's what really gets it out there. But so. I feel like up until like July, you have kind of seasons to go through. So you start with your striper, then you're on the drum, then you're on the blues and weekies, then you're on the sea bass.
Yeah.
What are you catching in that lull of July, August, and early September?
So July, August, and early September for me is crabbing.
Okay. So for you.
Usually I'm going to start. I mean, I love crabbing. Like, I'm not saying I won't bring out my fishing rods, but once the crabs are in there, man, it's hard to resist. I love eating a crab. I love it. I love eating them.
And you just started trot lining last year. Is that something you're going to focus on? Or
see what it is with the trot liner for crab. Like I was telling you the other night, you can't. It's not something you can do everywhere. Yeah. So there's a few places where you can't do it. Yeah. Like Dividing Creek's one of them. And they're Chesapeake style pots and they're trot lined, nothing like that. But with the trot line, the problem is in Jersey. It's so
limited. Right?
It's so limited. Yeah. So like, what it is on that trot line, the little bungees I have that hang off that hold the bait. They're snoods. So you're allowed to have a 150-foot trot line with 25 snoods.
Huh?
That's it. 150 foot.
So what's that? Every 5 or 6 foot?
It's closer than that. I forget the exacts, but it's.
Well, I guess you have like a 20-foot section on each end.
For your. Okay. Well, now what it is that you're allowed to have 20 foot of baited line. So the trot line is just 150 foot.
Oh.
The weighted lines I have, they're separate. I had to put them together. They're separate. So what it is, you have 150 feet of baited line, and we're probably right, 4 or 5. I forget the exacts, but I'm only allowed to have 25 snoods on there. So what I do is I really like using eel, but if I don't...
Do you like that because it's greasy, leaves a scent trail?
And eel stays on what it is, eel, the crabs will come to it, and they won't... They'll bite it up, but they don't destroy it. Yeah, they won't rip it right off. Where you can use chicken necks.
Yeah.
I mean, chicken necks work okay. I think eels probably hold up a little bit better, but chicken necks work too. And I've used chicken necks plenty of times. But so you take that out, set that out. But like I said, it's so limited with 150 feet of trot line. I mean, 150 feet of trot line ain't shit.
Ain't nothing.
Like I think the Maryland's
like 250 foot, I think. Or 300 foot.
Nah, it's like, I think, maybe it's Delaware. I forget. I was looking at their rules just to compare, and I think Delaware recreational is like 3,000 feet.
Oh, maybe that is Maryland. Oh, you know what? I think you're right.
So
I think it's Maryland and Delaware.
Yeah, so I know a lot of guys in Maryland, like, you read about it, and you see, I just, read about that stuff and look into it, but those guys, hell, like the commercial guys still trot line, over there. And first off, they switch it up. They do use eel, but a lot of guys use razor clam. So they take the snood off. Yeah. Actually, they leave the snood on, but they have a bag, and they fill the bag with razor clam. And they'll bust the shell a little bit on the razor clam and throw that out. But they're running, over 6,000 feet. What's that? How many miles is that? 6,000 feet is...
A little over a mile.
Yeah, they're running long lines, so... But the problem is, too, with the trot line, I have to, my prop arm, the arm you rest the trot line on to ride and lift the crabs up and lift the whole line up, I have to weld I got to get it down further because you got to figure my new boat is way deeper than that last one. Yeah. So I'm sorry.
You only want to be like 2-3 inches above the water, right?
You don't want to be that low, but you want to be a little. Okay. Yeah. You don't especially with a short ass line, like we have to run a Jersey for recreational.
Because I'd imagine once you get to like that 20-foot mark, now your whole line's moving.
You're changing the angle. Yeah. Like the higher you go, you're changing the angle, and that's the shitty part with that long line too. Once you start getting to the ends, the angle's pretty steep. Okay. So I try to take it even slower coming up to the ends. Yeah. But with that, I mean, guys do it. They build them out of PVC, put them in a rod holder. I'm sorry, I'm a welder. I'm not making. I'm
Not fucking around with PVC.
I'm not fucking around with PVC. I'm a welder. I got the means to do it. I just need to do it. So, like mine now, I made mine out of stainless.
Okay.
But
And it's just a little arm bar.
yeah, stainless 1.5 inch, and it like I said, it's nice and light, but it just stuck straight off because my old boat, I'd have somebody sitting in the front with my 14-foot, riveted boat.
Yeah.
You can weigh down the front, and everything was pretty low to the water. But now it's going to be 3 feet out of the water, so I got to change that up. But
So one thing I want to ask, well, real quick, I just looked up Maryland. You can have if two or more individuals are on a boat, not more than 2 trot lines with baited portions more than 600 feet.
600, okay.
Yeah, you can have 600 feet.
Yeah.
You can if you have 2, so I guess one per person.
Yeah, one per
so you
person.
get 2.
Yeah.
Now, what I was going to ask you as far as the fishing side, where we fish, where you were fishing this past weekend, where we took the boat out the other weekend.
Yeah.
Does the fish finder help? Like if you're using downscan, regular fish finder.
I mean, for me, so back in the day, I never fished with electronics ever. At
And
all.
now you
I was
have,
like,
what, $30,000 worth of electronics in your boat?
yeah. I used to never. I was like, man, that's some dumb. You don't need that. You don't need all that.
Rat whore.
Yeah. Now I got a couple grand worth of electronics sitting in front of me behind the steering wheel. But what it is with the electronics, so for me, I really started using them back, not even that long ago when I was crappie fishing real hard. And that helps. I mean, with crappie fishing, I started using down scan, and then I really wish I had a fish finder with side scan. I need one. I ordered one for the other boat I had, the big one. I ordered side scan, but it was during COVID. Nobody had it in stock. So I ended up, I wasn't cheaping out. I just got what I could get because I needed one.
Fair enough.
So the Simrad I bought, the Cruise 9.
It's still a nice ass.
Yeah.
It's got everything on it. Well,
Yeah.
I guess except the side scan.
Except side scan. It doesn't have down scan either, so it's just sonar. But I will say this: the fish finder, you're sitting there and you're looking around. Like for deeper water, it does work good. But and you can find some stuff, especially with down imaging. Like you'll see down trees and shit you didn't know were down there. Like on sonar, you're like, oh, there's something there. But you put on down imaging and you can really see what's down there. I've noticed like cleaner water though is a little bit easier. Like sometimes out there, that dirty ass water.
That's why I asked.
I mean, yeah, it works. Is it probably the most accurate in those conditions? No. Yeah. But in a freshwater lake, like a sandwash pond, crappie fishing, dude, you can turn on the down scan. You don't need to run sonar.
Yeah.
You can drive over it, and you can clearly see all these fish sitting on a brush pile. Like, well, if that's not a school crappie, I don't know what the fuck is. You know what I mean? You can tell. And then you can see, like, pickerel, just the body shape of them, like in that clear water. Long, skinny, like pickerel and pike, and then bass, you can kind of tell they're long, but, stubbier. Yeah. Like, but that's a totally different atmosphere. That's 60 feet of clear blue water, but like 8 feet of visibility. Where out there, it's a little bit different. Where down scan, I have used it out there, and it does work. I just don't think it's as accurate.
Gotcha.
But with the fish finder, for me personally, I like having a big Simrad. So I have my tides on there. My tides, the maps, obviously, I won't get lost.
That's the
tides,
I need to
maps,
I need to get the
points
the
of
SD
interest.
card.
Yeah, I will say this. I still do use the sonar. I have quite a few spots where I not religiously go, but I hit first. And I'll go look for more here and there. And I will use sonar and look. I would say to my advice to somebody who's it depends on what you're trying to do, but let's say you want to striper fish or drum fish or all that. And you can pull this up on your phone. You don't have to have a fish finder to do it, but I sit there and I'll look at the CMAP chart viewer and I look at the Garmin Navionics chart viewer because I have both. I have CMAP and Navionics. I have two different units on my boat. So I'll go on either website and look around and just sit there and look at the depth lines and all that and find structure you think those fish are going to like. And that's mainly what I'll do. I'll use it on there, then I'll go home and go on the map on the fish finder and play around and find my spots. And then once I start getting out there, then I'll be running the sonar and checking what's seeing around. You know what I mean? But I will say, like, a lot of these little freshwater lakes around here, let's face it, they're ponds.
Yeah, absolutely.
In 3 feet of water, high trip sonar is not going to do you a whole hell of a lot of good. But you've been with me. We've caught, 30 crappie in one night.
And as soon as that down scan hits them, it's like, oh shit, there they are.
But they weren't even under the boat though. It was we ran over trees and stuff. I caught a couple on the trolling motor prop. But even in 3.2 feet of water, that high chirp wasn't really doing anything for us. I was just looking to make sure we weren't going to run too shallow. That's all I was using it for.
That's exactly why. But I bought a little nice. It's not the best. It was only like $230. It's the Hook Reveal 5, the Lowrance.
Lowrance Hook 25.
Yeah, it's the one you had, but like the step above. So it's got a couple
I will say
things.
this: that was the first fish finder I ever owned. Actually, I've had like the old Humminbird calculator screen.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I've had them, but that Lowrance Hook 25 HDI. That's when I really started like playing with it.
That's exactly what I wanted.
Used
something,
it, and I was like, oh shit, like this is actually. And I start, doing my
Useful.
research. Like at break time at work, I'm sitting there just looking at videos, like the different settings on it, what I can do, like the parameters. What can I change this? Can I change that? If I'm fishing in here, can I do this, do that? Because it might have an auto setting, but maybe I want to dial in more.
Oh, that was the first thing I did was go on YouTube.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I was like, all right, so these things are kind of worth it. Because I was like, man, for years I never ran one.
Yeah.
Like anywhere I fished, I was like, you don't need that. You don't need that.
Yep.
But I will say this, like I do wish I had one with side imaging, and I now know with live scope. I think I was telling you one of the episodes I was on. I mean, it was a couple podcasts ago. I think the first time I was on, I talked about I went out with two guides, hybrid striper fishing and crappie fishing on Percy Priest Lake in Tennessee, and they use live scope.
So didn't you say it was basically like drop your bait?
Yep, you could see your egg sinker and minnow drop from that crappie's face, and it was like video game fishing.
Yeah,
like the guy's like set the hook. I'm like, because I'm looking at the screen and I see the fish. I just see this little. Flicker light, start heading toward that minnow, and then it would turn. He just pick up the pole, and I'm just like, oh, he took it. Like I'm sitting there staring at. I'm paying more attention to live scope than I am to poles.
It's like the
I mean?
ice fishing guys that are watching that fucking beeper.
Yeah,
and they see their bait's a green dot, and then they see this big ass red dot come up, take it, and then they're watching it, and the pole's about halfway in the water, and he's like, oh shit, he actually took it.
Yeah, it just threw me off, and actually. Seeing it with a hybrid striped bass was pretty cool. I mean, crappie, it was cool, but
that big blob,
that big blob coming, and like I would notice, he was using he was casting netting his own bait out in the river. He didn't catch his own bait in the lake. He said the gizzard shad that he catches out of the river are tougher, so they hold up better. They last longer. They're tougher because they're in the river environment rather than just in a lake with not that much. Not that much moving water,
yeah.
But. So he would, he'd throw a gizzard shad on there, and we were actually using trolling reels. So to let out your distance, he would say, pull out 12 feet, and they have the line counter on. We just pull out 12 feet. He's like, just let it sit there. And I would look at my pole, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And that gizzard shad, you could see him just losing his shit. Like
something would come around.
And as soon as that started happening, he's like, you better get ready. And then let him take off. I'm like, oh. And my first instinct was, grab it, and he was also using circle hooks. He was like, grab it and just let him run with it. He's like, let him run. He goes, these things are not, he's like, they're not like the striper you catch at home. He's like, they're very similar. He goes, but pound for pound, he goes, they're going to put it on. He's like, just let him take it and let him run. Yeah. And like I said, circle hook, just pick it up and crank. No hook set, just pick it up and crank.
Yeah.
And sure enough, man, once that line got tight, it was like, holy, pound for pound, that fish put it on. Like
you said you were only catching, 12, 14 pounders?
The biggest one caught on the trip was me, and it was 12 pounds. And I tell you what, dude, that fish, I mean, it was, imagine a striper just like a American bulldog, just short and stubby, you know what I mean? All muscle.
I've caught them before down where Aunt Sharon used to live, down in Charleston, South Carolina. They got them in them lakes and ponds. and
they're everywhere down there.
And Coley caught probably a 10 to 15 pound catfish. I was 8 at the time. I remember seeing it was big as my fucking leg when I was that little. And then I have a picture of it somewhere, me catching one of them hybrid stripers. And it was one of the funnest things I've done to date.
They put on a good fight.
And catching them they weren't dog sharks. I think they were baby sand sharks.
Okay.
Or baby, what are they, them dusky sharks?
So
I think so.
A dusky smoothhound.
They could have been.
Yeah.
But whatever they were, they're about 2.5, 3 feet long.
Yep.
And they were fun too.
Yeah.
Catch them all. And Michael would fish with was dog food.
Really?
Hard kibble dog food.
Yeah.
About stabbed myself about 30 times, put them on the damn
hook.
Yeah. Wet a little bit.
And they still ate it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Every time. I thought about using it down here for catfish.
Yeah, well, catfish, like I said.
But nightcrawler.
Catfish will eat a Vienna sausage. They don't care. They will eat anything.
Raccoons love them. I learned that this year trapping. We talked about it last episode with Kobe.
I mean, I've been broke before. I've ate them, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
I did.
They're waxy.
So everybody, a lot of people, if you listen to the podcast, you know there was supposed to be the first YouTube video was supposed to be me trapping, where I caught a raccoon at a private spot that Tyler has over at Tyler's house, and I caught the raccoon. Well, Ryan, and I'm not blaming Ryan. I'm blaming my computer.
Yeah.
But Ryan took like a 30-minute video, the main portion. So when I uploaded everything, a lot of the video got corrupted, and it just wasn't usable. I could not use the rest of it. Well, there's a section in there where I'm baiting it with Vienna sausages, and I looked at the barbecue ones. Yeah. And I looked,
oh God.
And I looked at Ryan. I'm like, dude, these can't taste like that bad, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I had one when I was little with my mom's cabinet.
Just bit that glizzy. Just bit it.
I stuck, and I knew I was fucking up. I stuck my pinky through it, and it came out on my pinky, and I was like, and I took like half of it, and I about yacked. That was one of the nastiest things I've ever put
If you're
in my
going to
mouth.
buy Vienna sausage to eat, just save a few more quarters and buy deviled ham. Just buy deviled ham.
Deviled ham.
It's a little more money, but I'm telling you, Vienna sausages are edible, but ugh.
So if you're not crabbing, like, so I know when you crab, you're using folding pots, trot lines,
so for me,
or hand lines, right?
I love handline crabs.
Yeah.
Just getting personal with them. just getting personal. I love handline crabs, and I welded up. I made my own hand lines out of the safety clips, like for
You
a
got a
trailer
reel?
tongue. No reel. I have it on a wood block.
Oh,
So I have small wood blocks, but
oh, you mean a safety pin for the bait holder?
no, safety pin for your trailer. Like they go.
No,
in
yeah, I know,
pins.
but you put the bait on it, or
Yeah, I put the bait on it,
Okay.
and I welded a little tiny piece of rebar to it, some scrap rebar, to give it a little bit more weight to get it down there.
I was just saying,
And
Buggy, it costs like $3 at Walmart.
I know, but my hand lines are heavy duty.
Yeah.
And actually, I fish in some pretty ripping ass current with those
Oh,
hand
well,
lines.
yeah.
And they did fine, but some people don't like my hand lines because they're used to like what you're talking about, the $3 triangle wire shape with a little lead weight
I'm
on
not
it.
a big fan of them. But.
And they can tell when they're pulling up on it. They can tell when they have a crab because it's heavier. Mine, if you got 3 on there, you can tell. It's happened. We've caught triples on them hand lines. But I do like hand liner crabs, especially like taking the kids and people. You know what I mean? It's fun hand lining them. I like doing it.
Yeah.
Watching that greedy bastard holding the chicken thigh all the way up to the top. I mean, even I like it. But
they use one of them steel dip nets.
yeah, I was still dipping it. But the problem is with pots. I ran pots for years. That's all I did was run pots. And I caught crabs, but I was like, well, there's got to be a better way. Like, go set the pots and then go. And that's what happened was I'd go set pots and start hand lining. And then, kind of give the pots. I'd let them sit there all day and go hand line. At the end of the day, come pick them up or get them the next day.
Yeah.
Because you're allowed a 72-hour soak on them pots. But I was using quarter pots. And quarter pots are smaller. So they're, like, the bigger Chesapeake style pot. They're a quarter the size. So we have a hole going in. And a hole, or a hole on each end, if you know what I mean. There's not 4 entrances on that pot. So the problem I was having was I wasn't catching that great. But with me not catching that great, I'm like, well, these quarter pots are about worthless. Wouldn't you know, I had a dozen of them.
In a quarter pot?
The quarter pots. I sold them all for more than what I paid for them.
Really?
Yep. Some guy was on his way from Pennsylvania, on his way to
On the
vacation
shore,
in
yeah.
Wildwood. I had him post on Facebook Marketplace, hey, I hope they caught for him because they didn't catch shit from me. I mean, they caught crab, but not, not like a full-size pot. So now I just keep one half pot. I keep one half pot, and that's all I do with it. But the half pot, I'll throw that out while I go hand line and just leave it out there for a day and maybe come get it the next day. Or, you know what I mean? It's just something out there sitting there catching crab while I'm not hand lining.
Well, that's why I like the pots, because you know me. If I go out, like, I don't like to do the cruising. I mean, I do, especially with this motor.
So what I would do, I bought a dozen pots, and for recreational license, you're only allowed to have 2 per person. So I'd take 6 people with me, whatever. You know what I mean? And we go out, we all bought our license, and we all set them. Write our license number on the floats and on the dobs and send them off.
Well, what I mean is, like, I like to go, when I'm out there, my favorite thing to do is fish. Catfish, perch fish, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the best part, and I like to eat crabs. So the best part about me buying them traps last year was I can go out to the mouth, wherever I'm going, throw them, come back in, fish, go relax, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, 2 hours later, go check them.
Go check it. Yeah.
And then if I'm like, well, I'll come back out here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Check them again before I head in.
Yep.
And then head back in and come out the next morning, grab them, eat some crabs.
So another thing with pots, too, is people will mess with your shit.
Yes.
Eventually. I mean, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it probably happens more often than you think.
Hi.
What's up,
You
Ryan?
just ruined the conversation.
Did I?
We're talking about crab pots.
saw dudes throwing chicken necks in off the dock down there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I scared some Mexicans off your dock last Sunday.
Rolling.
Poppy.
Oh, I gotta go back and listen. I forget what I was gonna name this episode. Something about a hoe.
Some days I just want to be a boat hoe.
Oh
man.
yeah.
Some days I want to be the boat hoe.
I saw a track marked out boat this weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
That was kind of.
Track mark. Ooh.
Yeah. She was definitely getting on the dinghies. Not
The
boats.
dinghies.
She was getting on the charter for dinghies.
Yeah.
All right.
We were talking about one of your favorite things to do while fishing, hand lining for crabs. You can't just walk in here like you're in the fucking place.
Yeah, you can.
50%.
You gained some weight on this trip, man.
Gain some weight.
I ate so much seafood. I don't think I want to eat seafood for a couple weeks.
Nah, dude. I will say this. I've had job opportunities elsewhere and this and that, and I'm like, I have to live on the coast.
You love seafood too much.
Have you ever had a scalp in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Probably wasn't a scallop.
yeah, that shit was probably out of Lake Erie. I'm good. So I eat seafood every chance I get. Raw oysters, everything. I love it.
I can't do the roll.
Love them raw.
I
love them raw.
I love fried
It
oysters.
is a natural blue chew.
Yeah.
Them things.
Oh, what is it? What's it called? A hermaphrodite? What the fuck is it?
An aphrodisiac.
Ah, that's what it is.
Hermaphrodite.
I don't fucking know. I'm not Greek.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's the best one yet.
Oh, Petra. Oh, man. A hermaphrodite. Oh, boy.
What does that even mean?
I'm just going to let you look it up.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, look it up.
You have to look it up.
Click images and then turn the blur off.
Oh, it's where you have both hardware.
At the same time.
Ooh. Images. Yep, there it is. All right, now the episode's gonna call. The episode's going to
Sexually confused.
oyster hermaphrodite hose.
Nah, but I love a raw
A
oyster.
hoe for hermaphrodites.
I love a raw oyster.
Nah, I can't. Even like, I've just gotten out eating mussels. Can't do them raw.
Well,
but I like steamed mussels.
You don't want to eat mussels raw, bud.
I didn't know. Well, I don't eat
Yeah.
raw stuff. But I like steamed mussels more than I like clams.
Yeah.
Well,
I
little
have a
like clams.
question, bud.
What's up?
The clams we got down there were local clams, right?
Yeah.
What was the little dick that was hanging out of it?
That's the beak. That's the tongue. We were just talking about
Yeah.
bait clams. It's the beak.
And I didn't like them as much as like regular little necks. There was
Yeah.
like shit on the inside.
Yeah.
like-
And they're usually grittier. Like they got more sand in them.
Yeah. They weren't good.
What?
I mean, they were good, but then I started thinking about what I was putting in my mouth. And they weren't
Yeah.
good.
What'd you have? Local clams down there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a whole bucket of them, a whole bucket of mussels.
Yeah, the clams were probably like $10 for the whole
I love
bucket.
mussels, and the mussels to me just have like a, how do I explain it? Like a chalkier taste. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the inside of a mussel,
Yeah.
it's like a chalkier, which I love them. I'll eat them regardless, but
Yeah.
they do taste different. But
And,
I think they're a little hardier tasting.
yeah.
they are.
Like, it's like you're eating meat.
They're more filling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, there's an Asian place, Cajun food, down the road from the shop I work at.
Oh, where you get the bags of crawfish?
Well, yeah, but I quit going there. They
different place?
They gyp you. Yeah. They sold beer too. It was like a cool thing about that place. But this
Get
other
beer in
place,
a plastic bag full of crawfish.
but this other place, it's a green mussel lunch special. So you get these big green mussel with rice, and you get them Cajun, hot, mild, however you want them. And I looked up, I'm like, I have never even heard of a green mussel. They're shipping them in from Australia.
Oh.
But a green mussel, I'm telling you, is at least
That's
3-4
nice,
inches.
yeah.
It is a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
they're good.
I need to go there.
Like I'll eat that and be full off of eating seafood.
Really?
Yeah.
The only time I really ever get full from seafood is like crabs. I don't know if you count frog legs as seafood, but
I mean, nah, I wouldn't.
yeah.
Amphibious food.
But mainly like crabs or crab cakes is kind of the only time I really get full off of
I
them.
love eating crab, all shellfish. I love it all. I don't care how you do it, cook it.
Yeah.
I was just on vacation in Myrtle Beach,
I just got on a lobster kick recently too. If it's cooked right.
Yeah,
Not
lobster's
red
good.
lobster, which is
but for me,
R.I.P. Red Lobster.
I went
you're not even
to
Catholic.
Oh.
Myrtle Beach and I go down there and we were leaving our Airbnb. We were staying in Airbnb until Sunday, so we had to be out of there. I mean, we were out by like 10:30. So we're walking around, and all the places are starting to open up for lunch. So for breakfast, I had a dozen and a half raw oysters.
For breakfast?
For appetizer. And then I had a fried oyster po' boy sandwich, dude. I'm telling you.
There's a place down here on 47 now. Or not 47, on 40. You know where the barbecue place is? Across from the airport?
Yeah.
It's right next to it on the left.
Okay.
No, that's fucking 77. You're in the complete opposite county.
Yeah.
Go down past outside of Malaga.
Yep.
Now, they're pretty expensive. I got fried oysters, and I only got like 8 of them, and it was like $20.
Yeah.
But they're good. Yep. They're very good.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I had the raw oyster for starters, and then I had the fried oyster po' boy to actually fill me up. Dude, damn. I could eat that every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Also, I'm a trader. I love the mustard. I didn't realize how much I love the mustard.
What, crabs?
Yeah.
You always like the mustard.
But I don't want to eat them cleaned anymore.
Do you like them clean or dirty? Dirty?
I like them dirty.
I prefer them dirty anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
I mean...
So, all right. So, if you like clean crabs, that's fine. Everybody in my family...
I'll eat dirty crabs. You watch me do it. It's fine. But if I'm going to cook crabs, I'm gonna take the time to clean
So,
them.
most people in my family will eat them dirty, but, some people come over and I got to clean all these fucking crabs.
I wouldn't do that to you. If you cook them dirty, I'll eat them dirty.
It's like,
if I cook them dirty, I'll eat them dirty.
So what I do is, like, I'll go crabbing myself, and I'll bring some home, and I will leave at least 2 dozen just for me, dirty.
Fair.
Like, I went out and caught them. I'm keeping 2 dozen for myself, and I'm eating them dirty. And I'll clean the rest of them. You know what I mean? Out of the whole bushel, I'll keep at least, well, maybe not a full 2 dozen, but enough where I can take them, eat my fill, or get tired of eating them. And I'll even take some to work the next day.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Yeah, I have no issue with dirty crab. It's just if I cook crabs personally, I'm gonna take.
Where Ryan was at in Annapolis, for vacation, you can't get a clean crab. They're gonna look at you like you got 4 heads, like what?
Maryland style.
Yeah, exactly. You ain't getting a clean crab.
And like we went there's this restaurant that's off the beaten path. Like the tourists don't go there. It is like lines of tables, everybody sitting next to each other, slammed up against each other, papers out all over the tables, and they just come and throw
dump the
them
bushel.
fucking...
Yep, dude, I love that.
And try it. It's
like
Tito's but sweeter.
Well, I don't like Tito's. So.
Yeah, I love, and actually, I tell you what, this weekend, I was out, so I caught like eel. He was over a foot, I don't know, maybe like 15-inch eel, like you little worm. So he went back for bait.
Yes,
and with him. Catfish were hitting the eel, but not really hitting it that great.
It takes a big catfish
to hit eel.
To take an eel.
But I was chunking the eel. So
even the chunks.
Yeah.
The little guys, they won't even mess with
it. But I was chunking the eel, and once I caught this big Jimmy out there, big male crab, rusty on the bottom, so he's full meat. He was over, like a touch over 7 inches.
This past weekend?
Yeah. I was like, okay.
They're here.
It's about to be that time.
Yeah.
Like these fishing poles are about to get put back in the shed.
It's about, 3 weeks after Memorial Day now?
Yeah, so for me, my rule of thumb is I always start crabbing after my birthday. My birthday's June 24th, so pretty much beginning of July. That's when I start.
So do you crab up until like the middle of September?
Yep, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Keep going. And what it is, I said, I could be fishing, and sometimes I'll break it up and go catch some catfish, whatever. Maybe go out in the bay and mess around, but from like when it's hot summer, it's crab time. Yeah. I love eating crabs.
Are they very temperamental when crabs are coming up to breed spawn? Right. I don't know what they call it for a crab, but I'm going to call it spawning.
Yeah.
Are they temperamental with that? Like when it gets hot, here they come.
So crab is very, very water temperature based. If it's too hot, they don't like it. If it's too cold, they'll move out of those smaller back creeks where the water heats up, if you know what I mean. But I forget the exact water temperature they like it at. So you got to figure, though, with the crabs. So have you ever caught a sponge, a female, with eggs on her belly?
Yes.
So what it is, when she's soft, the male, the Jimmy, he'll get over to suck the female. And right when she's shedding or about to shed, he'll get on top of her and he'll hold on to her. And I don't know if you ever caught a doubler.
No, I haven't.
That's a Jimmy holding on to a soft female.
Okay.
So or she's about to be soft. She's about to shed. So she opens up the apron on the bottom of her shell. He opens his, and
there they go, baby crabs.
Crab hub. Crab hub. So what it is, they kind of meet in the middle. So the females, once it starts getting colder, they come up here. They do their thing. The females will go down to the mouth of the bay, closer to saltier water in the ocean. The males are going the other way. and they'll, they do their thing, they meet.
Yeah.
But especially, like, I don't know, I've read plenty of books about it. I don't know how big of a thing it still is, but a lot of guys down in Virginia would crab dredge at Chesapeake. So they're out there dredging females in the winter. Mm-hmm. They're not, they can't bait them. They're out there running a dredge and ripping them off the bottom.
It's like a clam dredge.
Yeah, they're dredging them. And a lot of guys in Maryland, from, like I said, this is just stuff I've read, but they'll sit there and they dredge for soft shells too, because what they get in, like the grass, not algae, I forget what it's called, but sea lettuce and all, they get in that because they know that they're vulnerable, so they go hide in that. If you know what I mean, they're not out in the open.
Yeah,
they go hide in that. But I've caught quite a few doublers in my day, of Jimmy on top of.
Now is that all a soft shell crab is? Is a female that shed it after?
Well, you catch. I've caught a soft male too. Male shed too.
Okay,
but I've caught a soft male.
That's all it is a blue crab that shed.
And I tell you what, it is an acquired taste.
I love soft shell.
And he likes them.
You gotta at least take the dick off.
Yeah. Well, what I do is I take them and I'll grab them. So the mouth. I'll take the mouth and I cut the lips off. Mm-hmm. Lips are off. I flip the top open. I just peel it open. Get the lungs out. Take the apron off, and that's how I do it. And if it's ripping the shell, I leave the apron on.
Okay.
I'll eat the crab giblets, the crab hub, whatever.
I've had it in like sushi before and didn't mind it. But I don't know.
But you need a full soft shell. You're in the full soft shell crabs. Or you have one
with him.
I've made them for you before. I love them. I love them.
It's like you said. It's 100% an acquired taste. Mm-hmm. I would never go out and order them.
I love it. I love it.
But if I went to a barbecue somewhere and they had them,
I'm not going to eat 4 of them.
Yeah,
I'll eat 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I really have the acquired taste. I'll eat a dozen of those motherfuckers.
Yeah, I do. I love them. But like I said, if I'm eating crab, I will eat 1, and it is awesome. But I also want the hard crab too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's where it's at.
That's where my thing is like where there's going to be soft shell crabs, there's going to be regular crabs. Yeah. I'm taking the regular crabs.
I get you. I'll do both. But like, if I go to my uncle's and I don't feel like doing the whole making a mess peeling thing, I'll get like 6 or 8 soft shells from him and
fry them up and do it.
Eat all of them.
So I don't do it all the time, Ryan. I eat them on a sandwich. I make a sandwich out of them. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. You get them on like I'm not talking some shit ass hamburger bun. Yeah. Some Clover Valley floppy hamburger bun. I'm talking like a real Kaiser roll.
Yeah.
Like with lettuce and tomato, dude. That shit is that's good. I've even put spicy mayo on them before, like from like the Asian spicy mayo. Yeah. Dude, that shit. Yeah, that's good.
Oh man. Well, look, Ryan. I know you showed up a little late, and I'm glad you could make it. But Baltimore we are gonna.
Brutal.
Huh?
Sorry, Baltimore was brutal.
Well, yeah, you had to go through Baltimore and
you went to
Delaware.
You went to Annapolis,
yeah,
right?
She doesn't. So Bay Bridge, she gets really scared of.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is a
northbound Bay Bridge.
I mean, that shit was on Modern Marvels. It's pretty long. Yeah. It goes above the water, underwater, above the water. Yes. You know, I get it.
So southbound isn't bad because like there's walls on the side. It's not bad. Northbound, like the side's like that big, and she starts having a panic attack every time. So we had to go around through Baltimore.
Yeah, that Baltimore traffic is no fun.
But we're gonna. Is there any closing things you want to talk about, Bug?
Well, not really. I mean, I do have. I guess. I mean, you're asking me what my next move is. I'll probably go out. I want to get on the drum. I really don't. I hate not being. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if I have time to. But
it's what everybody's saying is they're catching them.
Yes, they are.
Not what they were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I'd love to go out and get on some drum. I don't think it's going to happen. If I do go, it'll be with somebody I know. I probably won't run my own boat out there.
Yeah.
But next move is going to be bluefish, and then after that's crab.
I want to get on the bluefish bad. That's something I want to do this year.
Well, I hope you ain't doing shit on Saturday.
That's Coley's birthday.
Oh
shit.
Womp womp. we missed the drum because Coley had to get married.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Yeah, that's why we didn't go drum fishing. Somebody had to get married.
Buggy texted me that Monday and goes, Pedro, what are you doing this Saturday? I said, Bug, it's a little busy. He goes, huh? What are you doing? I said, I don't know. Your cousin's getting married. He was like, ah, damn it.
I hate responsible adults. Young adults.
All right, Bug, I appreciate you coming on, Ryan. Thanks for
the cameo.
Taking the time to stop. The cameo.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you. It's been 90 great long episodes, and we're just beginning here. So stay tuned.
See ya.
Squaw!